right, let's get the live stream started. Oh, hey, that was fast. Sweet. Okay, I think we're already online. Well, tonight I am excited to talk to you about e-commerce. We're going to keep building on WordPress because your final project will be a WordPress website. And one of the requirements on the rubric, which I should probably in a live stream pull up a little bit of information about the final product in case you haven't had a chance to review it yet. There is, where did it go? Was it in last week's or is it in this week's? Oh, there it is. It's in this week's. So in this week's box, there's a slideshow about the final project. And what I've done is I've taken every rubric requirement and kind of added a little bit of information into the slideshow. The basic premise of the final project, as you know from the proposal that we've already done, is to build a complete website with WordPress as your content management system. If you've just finished taking Web 1 in a previous semester, I know you built a 5-page website there, and you can totally reuse that same idea. That's fine. Maybe there's another website that you've been meaning to make. This would be a great way for you to practice building it. If you know of an organization or a group that needs a website, you could always build that. The timeline here is pretty compressed. We did the proposal last week. Between last week and this week, I've asked that you install WordPress on the shared server, and it looks like a few of you have already been able to get that up and running. Next week, I'm going to expect a draft of your project to be shared with me. We're going to have an instructor conference scheduled, hopefully between everyone and me next week sometime. And then, of course, your final project is due week 16. Now, unlike Web 1, you've been uploading it to the server like along the way here. So the last week of class, you won't have to worry about uploading anything because you've been doing that along the way. So let's look at the rubric requirements. The first requirement is tied to the course outcome of being able to install and evaluate content management systems. The one that we're using for the final project is WordPress. You looked at a few others earlier in the semester. So a full 25 points, which I believe is a quarter of the whole project, is dedicated to just being able to install WordPress. So if you've successfully installed it on the shared web server, then you are doing great on the final project already. The second outcome is to be able to develop themes and designs using CSS that change what a content management system looks like. And my specific requirement, let me get my face out of the way here. My specific requirement is that you customize the WordPress themes that come with it, like 2017, or we'll probably look at another theme tonight that's connected to the e-commerce plugin that we've chosen. Or you can use underscores, which I provided some resources for last week, to develop your own custom theme with HTML, CSS, by editing some of the PHP files that come with underscores. That's another quarter of the project. Now, the rest of the rubric requirements are a lot smaller. One of the outcomes of the course is to be able to work with database systems. So in that last week of the class, I will be collecting from you some database queries that you've written, or maybe we'll do this in a conference. I'm not sure yet. This is the first time that we've taught the class online, and typically when it was a face-to-face class, I would have time with each student to show me some database queries running against your database. We'll probably have to tweak that a little bit for this online course. Outcome 4 is to build a responsive website. So think about everything that we did with Bootstrap. A lot of themes available for WordPress use Bootstrap, and you could even add Bootstrap to your underscores theme if you wanted. Or think about Layout Land, all of the work that we've been doing to understand CSS Grid. As we look at building a storefront with WooCommerce today, I think you'll see how CSS Grid might be able to make a really cool product page for you. But 10 points on the rubric are associated with your site being responsive. And I feel pretty confident because everyone did a great job with the Brandon's Bistro site. The fifth rubric requirement is to do e-commerce, and that's what tonight is all about. We're going to look at a plugin called WooCommerce that makes e-commerce extremely easy just by adding a plugin to WordPress. Another outcome is being able to use the elements of art and principles of design to build a production website. Now, we've covered a lot of these already in Web 1 and Web 2. This is kind of the culmination of it. You've practiced with grids, colors, and logos several times throughout this semester and in Web 1, and you've also worked with Google Fonts along the way. So I hope that you can pull out all of those skills that you've been incubating over the last 2 semesters and use them on your final project just as well as you have been in all of your other work. There's one more rubric requirement that is going to be discussed more next week, and that's animation. With a little bit of CSS or a little bit of JavaScript or both, you can create some really compelling animations on the web. And when you think back to the hide-a-box activity that we did in Web 1, sometimes it's as simple as applying a couple classes to HTML elements. So we're going to pick that back up next week when we look at some CSS transitions. The source for that will be our textbook, and we'll also look at a couple of popular JavaScript libraries for animating. So that's the final project. Do you have any questions about any of these rubric requirements? Maybe let me know if you've been able to set up the shared server yet. Okay, no questions as of yet. I appreciate that. Definitely let me know if you run into anything. Particularly, if you remember back to last week's live stream, I had some problems getting the right username for WordPress, and it turned out that I was missing like the underscore WordPress part of the username. I'm pretty sure, after talking with a few of you already, that was actually only my demo account that had that problem. So when I updated the documentation, it then made your lives even harder because your usernames for the MySQL database don't have underscore WordPress. They are just called like bkish or whatever your mid username is. So I hope you'll be able to get that sorted out. If you're having problems installing WordPress, definitely reach out on Slack and I'll help you out. Okay, so let me close this tab. So what's going on in week 14? We have our penultimate layout land discussion. Next week will be the end of that. So definitely take a look at the series of videos that I shared this week. The main event is WooCommerce, adding e-commerce to our WordPress installation. We'll be doing that tonight. And like I've mentioned a few times now, your main task for this for the final project is to get WordPress installed this week for sure. So what is WooCommerce? Well, unfortunately, I can't play lynda.com videos in the live stream. I think lynda.com would frown upon that. But please know that with the mid subscription, you are able to watch this video course. It is, let's see, I think it's, 2.5 hours. There's a couple older versions of WooCommerce covered in lynda.com, but the one that's labeled 2018 is up to date and very relevant. It works with a couple different types of themes that we'll look at tonight. This course is really great. I think it's one of the shortest that I've linked to all semester, and it's because it focuses on just one topic, getting the plugin and setting it up. And you'll see that WooCommerce can do a lot of different things. I made a cheat sheet of notes for myself tonight, and just off the top of my head here, I wrote down so many things that this plugin can do. It allows you to build a product catalog so that people can buy things off your website. Those things that you're selling in a WordPress site, WooCommerce gives you the flexibility to have physical products that you would ship out or digital downloads from your website, which is pretty cool. It connects to payment processors like Stripe or PayPal to handle the credit card piece so that people can actually pay from your website. It allows you to add automatic live shipping estimates for people that are using your site in the United States. It allows you to reserve dollar amounts for taxes. It allows you to build product photo galleries and variations of products. So WooCommerce is just huge, and the good thing is that once you install it, the wizard that you follow when it first installs is very step-by-step. So tonight's live stream is really going to be short. I think I've covered almost everything that I wanted to tonight. So if you haven't watched the video, reserve time to do that because I'm not going to go over everything that's in it. But I will walk through the steps of installing WooCommerce today. So let me open up my other tab that I have over here somewhere. Here's that WordPress site that I created and installed with you last week. It's not the best designed website, but I'm going to log in with my saved password. If I could actually choose the right one. I'm going to zoom up the interface here. Oh, someone in the chat room said they already have WooCommerce experience. That's awesome. I'm glad that it sounds like a Chamber of Commerce was using it for adding local shops to their site. That's awesome. Yeah, it's very popular. The fact that WordPress cover is like hosting 50% of the internet means that a good portion of those are trying to do e-commerce, and the most popular way to set that up in WordPress is through this WooCommerce plugin. It's very popular. And it's really easy to install. So if you're logged into your dashboard of WordPress, you go to plugins, you can click add new, and I would just search for WooCommerce. It's Woo in the big text bubble. When you click install, if all your permissions are right, it will have downloaded the code that it needs, and then you can click activate to start setting up WooCommerce. It recommends that you actually run the setup wizard. And actually, before I do the setup wizard, I'm going to change my theme to match. Yeah, right now we're using 2019. We're going to match the video, the WooCommerce lynda.com video. I'm going to activate 2017, which is the older one. I do believe it supports the newer 2019 theme, but just to match the video, I'm going back to 2017. So let's go back to plugins. Let's run the setup wizard. It'll ask us some information about our store. So we definitely want to use United States. You can enter your address. If you want to help calculating shipping, you can select your currency. The wizard will ask you, do you plan on selling physical or digital goods, or both? I'm going to focus just on physical so it shows fewer steps. But if you were setting up a website for like a band and you want people to be able to buy your music, or if you were setting up a software company or a marketing company's website and you want people to be able to download books or things like that, you could actually sell digital goods, and they would be able to pay and then receive a download through this plugin. You can also check that you'll be selling things in person, and I don't remember where that takes you in the plugin, so I'm going to leave it unchecked, and I'm going to keep this pretty anonymous because this is a live website, which in many ways makes it better for setting up WooCommerce. There are parts of WooCommerce that actually require your website to be public so they can verify who you are. I, however, would caution you not to start accepting credit cards on my website, on this web server that I've shared with you. So everything's going to be pretty fictional here. I am going to keep it anonymous and uncheck the usage tracking. This way they don't really know much about our site. And it does require an address. I'm not going to try to dox myself, so let's make up an address. Now, I'm sure this is probably against their agreement here, but I don't want my address out on the internet. The second step asks you, how do you want to set up Stripe or set up receiving payments? And you can select what you want and then fill in the details later. I'm going to turn these off because I don't actually have an account, and I don't want to sign up for an account on these. But you could totally get a free Stripe account or PayPal account to receive money. What happens when you go through the checkout flow with WooCommerce is you get redirected to the Stripe site or the PayPal site to enter credit card details. These systems need to be configured with your own account on their system to transfer the money to the right bank account. So I'm going to hit next. If we're using underscores, this is a question from the chat room, is there a way to see if WooCommerce will work well with it? I am pretty sure that it does. In the last semester that we taught it, I did have students that used WooCommerce and underscores together. I think some of the people behind WooCommerce helped build underscores. But if you find that doesn't work well, let me know, and I'll see what is available for some default templates to help out with that. But I'm pretty sure they're built to work well together. So if you wanted to configure shipping, all of that information is available here. At some point, you'll be asked to set up an account to get that live shipping estimates. I'm going to skip a lot of that for now. There is a separate theme available that's designed to look more like a store. I'm going to install it. I might not activate it right away. Well, I guess by checking this will install it and activate it. I'm curious what it looks like. So we'll choose the storefront theme. Automated taxes. If you were a store, you would have to save money and send it to the government for taxes or to the state. You need to have a Jetpack account with WordPress in order to install this and set it up. It is free to use, as I understand it. And MailChimp is a way to send emails, and it has great integration with WordPress. I am going to skip that for now. Let's see, is there a way to skip? I'm going to skip installing Jetpack. You could totally set it up if you want. I think it's free, but remember, this is just a project. We are just about done. So I am going to visit the dashboard. It still has a couple screens that are trying to help me get started, but I'm pretty sure if I go to my website, you'll see that installing that theme created a couple links in the menu bar for a shopping cart, for checkout, for the shop page. This theme automatically shows your shopping cart in the top right, which is really handy. Those are the types of things that probably are not going to be in underscores, but as I understand it, even with a default built-in theme, it's able to show a product page with a dollar amount just fine. So once we have WooCommerce installed, what you're going to want to do is actually set up some products to sell. So if I come over here on the left of the dashboard and go to products, we're just going to add new, let's say, oops, what is going on? Oh, I guess this theme or this wizard really wants to create some sample products. Let's do it. Let's let it create some products for us. Oh my gosh, I did not want to do any of this customization stuff yet. So I am going to try to just publish it as is. Get to the WooCommerce. There we go. Products. You created a beanie, belt, cap, sunglasses. These are some good examples because they have different examples of prices and categories. I just want to create one to show you what it's like. Add new product. I want to sell grapes. We'll give it a description. They're delicious and healthy and a good snack. That's the only things that are actually required on a product are like a title and then a dollar amount. So we could say that they're going to be $4. And as soon as I hit publish, I should have a new link, a new permalink. And remember, the URL is not the best it could be, but it will work. If I visit this product page, I now have what looks like a very basic Amazon.com shopping page for adding grapes. It has no photo by default. I can, by default, add 3 grapes to my shopping cart, and I could start the checkout process. All of that is working already within like a minute of installing WooCommerce. But this is probably a pretty lame page. So let's go back to the dashboard and look at that product. And take a look at some of the other options that are available. When you scroll past the main blog post area, there is a section with lots of tabs for you to fill out that give you all the superpowers that you would need to run a real store. The first thing that you can do besides setting a regular price is setting a scheduled price or a sale price. And that sale price could take effect now, or it could be scheduled for the future. If I set that sale price for right now and I view the product in another tab, you'll see that it crosses out the dollar amount and shows the sale price, which is kind of cool. And it even added that sale icon at the top. What I think is especially powerful is if you could want to schedule these, you could say when the sale starts and when the sale ends, and it would only be reduced during that time when you try to order it. If this was tied to a real inventory system, like your own internal inventory system, actually this could do the inventory for you. You could say, you could give it a product number or code so that you don't have to necessarily use the product name, but This could be similar to like a barcode, I imagine, at a store. If you enable stock, then you can actually say how many you have in stock now and not allow people to order it until you get more in stock. Or allow it, but tell them a special message that means that they're back ordered. And then give you a notification, you, the store owner, when you have only 2 left. So there's some really cool stuff in there. You can update that status manually to say in stock, out of stock, or on back order. If you only wanted to allow someone to buy 1 grape, which would be really weird, right? Then you could even enable that, and then they can't use the up and down buttons to change the number of items in their cart. Those are a lot of the basics of a store. This is where it gets really crazy, though. You can actually connect the shipping to a service that WordPress provides through the United States Postal Service to get actual shipping estimates. Now, you have to connect with Jetpack, which is one of the steps I skipped. But the lynda.com videos show you how to set that up, and it's completely free. All that's required for the USPS to actually provide an estimate is they need to know the weight and then the dimensions, so they know what size box to estimate the price for. And then you can actually specify what shipping classes are allowed. If you've ever browsed like an Amazon or a Walmart or any other online storefront, you know that when you're looking at a product, they're going to show you related products. And underneath linked products, you can actually indicate which ones are upsells. Like instead of buying 1 set of grapes, maybe they should buy the 5-pack of grapes because it's more. That's considered an upsell. If it's something that goes well with it, like if I'm selling grapes, I might want to sell cheese with it, I could link a product up here so that when you're on the grapes page, it recommends people buy cheese as well. And then under attributes are where you can actually create special variations. So if you were selling shirts, in fact, let's go take a look at some of the shirts they gave us. I bet they have variations on some of these. Let's pick the beanie. And let's go underneath attributes. Oh, no, there's no attributes here. I really thought they would have. Maybe we'll choose the t-shirt. No, they don't have any variations either. Well, if you think about the classic selling of a t-shirt, you're going to probably offer multiple colors and multiple sizes. You can actually define those, so you could have a color attribute. And by separating all the possible colors with the pipe symbol, that vertical bar, you could have red and blue and green. You know what? I typed that backwards. RG, red, green, and blue. And I forgot one thing. Besides saying what the values are, I want to say that these are used for variations. So now if I save it, and I take a look at, what was it? I thought it was underneath advanced. They moved it on me, I think. Somewhere there's variations. I save the variations. I go to it. No, it's not under advanced. Well, let's publish it. I'm going to update this. And let's view the product. Yeah, it's not showing the different colors here. I did something wrong, my friends. Let's go to attributes, go to color, enter some text or some attributes by pipe separating the values. So red, green, blue. Save. Use for variations. Not sure where those went. Let's try adding another one for size. Small, medium, large. And I want that used for variations too. Well, all that's showing up, but it's not letting me actually customize those variations. Let's go over to attributes. So the attributes were a great way to add some default ones that you can then add to a product. So I could have actually added a default one. Red, green, green. Okay, so I've got two variations there. Let's edit my grapes, and we'll try to give it some variations, because I do have multiple photos. Let's add that. Select all the terms. Save. Used for variations. The variations still aren't showing up. I'll have to get back to everyone on that. There's supposed to be another tab that shows up for variations. And the goal of a variation is so that when you're looking at a product, it would let you click on which version of the product you want, the red one or the green one, and you can actually provide different photos of that. And so I was planning on showing you, let's see, I was going to add the photo. And I have photos on my desktop here of different colored grapes. Oh, unfortunately, I have too big of an image to upload. If this 2 meg limit is too small for everybody, you'll have to let me know, and I can try to increase the size limit for everyone. I did not see that happening here. So where did my variations go? That's where the product image goes. Attributes, color. Yeah, it's so weird that these show up on the product page, and then I hit save, and I come back, and it says use for variations, and I hit save, and then nothing happens. And it keeps it until, let me update it. If I come back in, it no longer has the variations option checked. So I wonder if there's something else that I have to do in order to enable variations. So underneath the WooCommerce settings, this is where you can manually set a lot of the things that the wizard asked you about. Let's go to products. Reviews and ratings all come for free. I don't have any shipping zones yet or payment methods. Lots of cool settings in here. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about that. Oh, extensions. This is where you could install support for subscriptions or booking appointments or signing up for memberships. There's a lot of cool things that you can add on here. If you watch that lynda.com video, they'll even talk about embedding Google Analytics in here, which is a topic that I've usually talked about with students towards the end of the semester before, where if you had a public website and you wanted to know what visitors were visiting your site, Google Analytics is free and can be added. It's like adding Google Fonts, honestly. You add a little bit of code to a little bit of their JavaScript code to your site, and then they will keep track of your visitors and tell you interesting things about them. I think one of the Layout Land videos even talked about Google Analytics, because you can take the Google Analytics data for your site and pipe it into the Can I Use website, and then you'll actually know like what percentage of your visitors support CSS Grid in their browser and things like that, which are pretty cool. So I think this is pretty much everything that I wanted to show you tonight. The main goal is to add some products. I'm a little bummed that we weren't able to figure out how to get the variations to work. I am going to revisit that a little bit later and see if I can't get that to work. But if you fit within the size limits, you can set the images in your storefront. In fact, I'm going to write that down as a to-do item so that no one else runs into this issue. Fix max upload size will be on my list, and I'll try to get that fixed before it bugs any of you. I would encourage you to install this after you get WordPress set up and actually try creating a couple products and see what you can create to support the theme and the idea of your website. If you have any other questions, definitely reach out in Slack, and I will try to consolidate those questions and share answers with everyone. Are there any other questions in the chat room? Okay, cool. No questions in the chat room. Thank you for watching. I know it was a short one tonight, but WooCommerce is pretty easy to get set up, as you can tell. It's mostly a wizard and then creating the items that support your project. So give that a try. Let me know how it goes, and I can't wait to start seeing our drafts next week. Good night, everybody.